Hello everyone. This Siege 101 video is going to be the first of 5 101 videos I'm going to make about the pillars of the game. This one specifically is going to focus on positioning, and the remaining 4 are going to be decision making, communication, team play, and mechanics. So as the video starts, I want you to think about the idea. Positioning is where you are standing and how that helps you. Everything we talk about relates to that idea. Good players are not just mechanically gifted, but they also have good positioning. Standing in a better spot can help you win a gunfight by itself. The goal of your positioning is basically just figuring out where the best place to stand is. Obviously, it's impossible to know where the exact best place to be is at any given time, but we can use some tools to reduce the amount of bad places there is to be. Tools like angles, pixels, crossfires, trades, split pressure, and gaps. To clarify as well, a good spot is a spot that helps you win the round. It may not always be the spot that's going to net you the most kills, but it's just a spot that's going to help you win the round. It might even take you away from a gunfight. First is angles. Seems kind of funny, but there are a couple of important things to think about here. When you're deciding where to stand, you should be thinking about how many angles you can see and how many angles can see you. Generally speaking, the fewer angles that can see you, the better. If 5 different angles can see you, then you have 4 or 5 potential threats you have to worry about. Whereas if only one angle can see you, then you only have one potential threat you'd have to worry about. One thing really quick that I want to talk about is angle perception. Stop standing at the frame of whatever it is you're holding an angle on, especially on pixels. The closer you are to the angle you're holding, the more exposed you are. If you backed up a little bit, you see the same exact thing while exposing less of your body. The angle itself doesn't even change. Just your positioning does. Look at this example right here. You can stand all the way up at the frame, see the same thing if you walk all the way back into attic. So angles determine what you can see, but exposure determines what can see you. You kind of want to think, if someone knows where I am, how hard would I be to kill? If you're in the middle of a room, roaming around, doing who knows what, in a room with a bunch of entrances, you're probably pretty easy to kill. Now compare that to playing in an area that your team controls with only 1 or 2 doorways. It's going to be a lot harder to get to you. Think about Oregon top floor. The reason this breach has to be opened is because if a defender plays in this spot, it's a pretty strong spot. The only places that can see this defender are areas that are inside of sight, and if attacker has to come into sight to take a gunfight with you, chances are there's something else helping you with that gunfight, like utility or a teammate. So, good positioning usually reduces exposure. It limits the amount of angles that can see you and the amount of your body that's exposed, and forces the attackers to commit heavily if they want to challenge you. Positioning isn't just making yourself harder to kill, it also affects how easily your teammates can support you. One of the reasons positions become stronger when teammates are nearby is because of trades and crossfires. Let's pretend we're attacking real quick. If we're taking a gunfight, best case scenario is that we win the gunfight. Well, that's not always going to happen, and you can't plan for that to always happen. So, what do we do about that? Trades. A trade is when a teammate is positioned close enough and correctly enough to be able to challenge the defender that killed you, or vice versa, before they get a reset. This, of course, only works when positioning is correct. If you're across the map from your teammate and they die, you can't really do anything about that. You also need the timing and angle, too. If your teammate's in the middle of planting, he can't really help you get traded out. I'll play the clip again really quick. You could just see that my teammate walks into sight from trophy, and I'm right behind them, ready to get a refrag. The defender kills my teammate, and again, I'm right there, right behind him, ready to get that refrag, get that trade right away. We can kind of take trading another step forward and think about crossfires. A crossfire is a position where 2 teammates are holding a similar angle but from opposite or non-similar sides. You can do this on either attack or defense, although on defense is where it's most common. On attack, you'd usually call it a pinch since you're collapsing on a player and you're having to attack them instead of on defense, you're waiting for someone to come to you. Either way, the idea is that the opposing player is in a position that is forcing them to take 2 gunfights simultaneously. This attacker right here has to walk into someone fighting them from attic and games, and this defender right here has to take a gunfight with someone coming up top white and someone coming in through trophy. I'll show a clip of that right now. While the clip plays, I just want to mention firstly that no, these aren't staged. These are real things happening in a game. And second, I just want to take a second to say thank you to everyone who supports the channel. I really appreciate it, guys. Another thing to think about with crossfires is to see how your teammate's playing. You need to almost match the aggression on the angle in the crossfire. If your teammate's holding an aggressive angle onto trophy door from attic, it's probably better to play much closer to trophy door since the attackers can kill your teammate from a position you can't see. If your teammate's playing passive deeper into attic, waiting for attackers to come into sight, it's probably better for you to play more passive as well. Those are some micro positioning ideas. Now let's look at some macro ideas. Firstly, split pressure, then defensive gaps, and just playing near your team. For split pressure, overall, you want to be creating as many angles on the opposing defensive team as you sustainably can do. This is, again, split pressure. If your entire team is walking through one door, like right here outside of master bed, and then maybe one guy near big window, that's really not a lot of pressure going on to the defense. The guy in games is okay. The guy in kids is kind of not really doing much, holding across with the bunks player, and the guy in attic can just sit on camps. It's really not much going on. But if instead of this, you have maybe someone go armory window, you know, armory hall window into attic, maybe someone going white. Now there's a lot more places that the defenders have to worry about. You don't want to just funnel through the same door the whole round because then the defenders only have to look at one door the whole round. This also kind of ties in with phantom pressure, something I talked about in streams I did with my VOD reviews. If you just start blasting open doors and barricades and windows, kids window, attic window, hallway window, armory window, front door, games window, top white. Like if you just have every window open, every door open, the defenders are never going to know where you're coming from, and it's not going to allow them to stand in many places. You got to keep them guessing. On defense, not having pressure across the map would be a gap. I already have a video on defensive gaps, which I do recommend checking out if you want to learn more about that. But to summarize, a defensive gap is just a place where there's nothing pressuring or stopping the attackers from just kind of walking into sight. Could be like a player or, barbed wire, something like that. The last overarching positioning idea is kind of like a duh thing, but it's just playing with your team. You know what I mean? Being near your teammates, using your teammates' utility, or allowing your teammates to use yours. I talked about a couple of topics in this video that cover things you could do with your team, but just again, being close to a teammate is important. Attacking can be a little different since you can have a lurker, but in general, you should just always try to be near your teammates and helping to push where they're at on attack or defending the same things on defense. So, to recap, positioning is where you're standing and how it helps you. Are you holding a cross, ready to make a trade, or creating pressure around the map? All of these things are things you should be thinking about throughout your games. If you ever feel like you're just standing around and not really doing anything, you probably aren't. Play the map, create pressure, and this is how we siege. Thank you for watching. There's definitely other topics surrounding position making, like how to play a post plant or when to take a gunfight. I do feel like that's something that ties more into decision making rather than solely positioning, which is what my next 101 video is going to be about. So keep an eye out for that. Again, I appreciate all the support. Thank you to the channel members listed right here. Thank you to everyone who's joined the Discord and put the VODs in the VOD review. Again, if you want to join my Discord, link is in the description. I do VOD reviews. I stream on Twitch, do stuff like that. And again, thank you for your time.